Denmark is set to have the highest retirement age in Europe after its parliament passed a law raising it to 70 by 2040, a change that will apply to everyone born after December 31st, 1970.
덴마크가 유럽에서 은퇴 연령이 가장 높은 나라가 될 전망입니다. 이는 덴마크 의회가 은퇴 연령을 2040년까지 만 70세로 연장하는 법안을 통과시킨 데 따른 것으로 해당 법은 1970년 12월 31일 이후 출생자부터 적용됩니다.
Yeah, so what's interesting in Denmark is that they've tied or linked the official retirement age to life expectancy. So as, of course, medical technology advances, life expectancies increase, and they revise it every 5 years by law. So currently it's at 67 right now, but by incrementally, it will increase to 68 in 2030, 69 5 years later, and by the year 2040, like the headline says, the retirement age will increase to 70. Yeah. Obviously, there's a lot of backlash to this announcement from trade unions, saying that raising the retirement age, that means that people will sort of have to continue to work and really lose that right to live a dignified sort of senior life in their in sort of the latter part of their life.
Yeah, exactly. 은퇴 연령을 영어로 retirement age라고 하는 거고요. 그래서 덴마크의 은퇴 연령이 현재 67세인데 조금씩 올라가면서 2040년에는 70세까지 올라갈 것이다. All right, when we say something is set to do something,
it means that something is scheduled or prepared or ready to do something.
이렇게 할 예정이다. So it's forecast or it's predicted to. It's a little bit different though, because when you say something is set to, it sounds more like it's planned.
It feels like it's more confirmed, it's solidified, right? That it will most likely happen.
아, 그래요. 이렇게 될 가능성이 매우 높다라는 의미로 보시면 되겠네요. What about apply to someone?
Yeah, so obviously you can apply to a college or a job. That's a different meaning here. Here, we're talking if something is applicable or relevant or appropriate for something.
Okay.
So here we're talking that this retirement age will apply. It correlates to people that are born after this date, 1970, December 31st.
누구에게 적용되다. It applies to someone. Well, here's the headline one more time. Denmark is set to have the highest retirement age in Europe after its parliament passed a law raising it to 70 by 2040, a change that will apply to everyone born after December 31st, 1970. Let's move on to the next headline.
Employees at the San Diego Humane Society have made headlines after wearing bear costumes while caring for a black bear cub taken in last month, aiming to prevent the animal from bonding too closely with humans before its return to the wild.
미국 샌디에이고 동물보호협회 직원들이 지난달 입소한 새끼 흑곰을 돌보면서 곰 의상을 입어 화제가 됐습니다. 이는 이 곰이 야생으로 돌아가기 전에 인간과 너무 가까워져 야생성을 잃는 일이 없도록 하기 위한 조처로 알려졌습니다.
Yeah, so bears are they're found everywhere across California. In fact, if you look at the California state flag, there's a picture of a bear on the state flag as well. But this cub, right, a baby bear, was found underweight and alone back in April. And so what the Humane Society here in San Diego has been doing, they've been caring for it. But because as soon as a wild animal is under the care of a human, they become accustomed to that. So it becomes harder for them to return to their natural habitat. So they came up with this sort of creative way to try and trick this bear into thinking that their caregivers are also a bear. But I wonder if animals can literally sniff that out. Because visually they might think it's a bear, but I'm assuming, like dogs too, they can probably sniff out an imposter.
Yeah. Or maybe because it's a baby bear,
Sure.
you know, he or she doesn't know any better and just thinks, okay, this is how bears are supposed to smell.
Right.
Who knows?
Right.
But either way, the people taking care of the bear, they not only dressed up as a bear, but I think they also made other efforts as well to to, let the little baby cub think it's surrounded by its natural parents. Or biological bear parents.
Yeah.
All right, so let's have a look at this expression here, to make headlines.
Yeah, if you're making headlines, you're becoming the subject of a news report or something that's widely sort of publicized in newspapers or any other broadcast media. It means basically you're getting a lot of media attention to something, whether it's positive or negative.
그래요. Make headlines는 화제가 된다라는 뜻이죠. I mean, we look at the headlines every day on the show, but to make headlines means you are the headline, you are the story, right?
Right.
So we don't make headlines, we read the headlines.
Yeah, reporters should not be in the story.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So we deliver the headlines, but to actually make headlines means you are the center of the story. And what about to bond?
Yeah, so here in this instance, we're talking about forming a close relationship or developing a connection with someone, often emotionally with someone or something. But of course, literally, if you're bonding with something, it means you can stick together with something like glue. Here in Korea, 본드 is used.
That's the same word.
It's the same word, yes.
Yeah, that's right. 그래요. 이 본드라는 게 원래는 그런 풀의 의미가 있지만 동사로 썼을 때는 그만큼 유대감을 형성한다라는 의미로 많이 쓰는 단어가 되겠습니다. So in this case, we're talking about bonding between animals and humans. We don't want that to happen with this baby bear or the bear cub, because then it won't be able to go back into the wild again.
Right. And for human babies, I'm aware that the very early stages of their life, it's important to create that special or parental bond with your child, right?
Right, absolutely. But when we talk about bonding between humans, you can have a sort of bonding session amongst co-workers even as well, sort of to get to know each other and to make sure that the teamwork is there and strengthen that, right?
Yeah, so you're getting closer to someone. You can also have chemical bonds where sort of chemical atoms and materials can combine together to form other new materials.
Exactly. So when it comes to science and engineering, we have that different meaning that you mentioned just there. But more commonly, I think we talk about that sort of strengthening of relationships between people.
Yeah, so you can say that I have a special bond with my teacher, for example. We've connected on a personal level.
그래요. 우리 그 유대감이 형성이 됐다. We have a special bond. 이렇게 표현을 합니다. So do you think James Bond had a special bond with his enemies or his ladies? Who knows?
Come on, Sue.
Sorry, I'm so sorry about that. Here's the headline again. Employees at the San Diego Humane Society have made headlines after wearing bear costumes while caring for a black bear cub taken in last month, aiming to prevent the animal from bonding too closely with humans before it's returned to the wild. Now here's our final headline.
A massive container ship ran aground last week while entering Trondheim Fjord on its way to Orkanger, Norway, crashing into a resident's front garden.
지난주 노르웨이 오캉에르로 향하던 대형 컨테이너선 한 척이 트론헤임 피오르 해안으로 진입하던 과정에서 항로를 벗어나 해안가의 한 주택 앞마당에 좌초하는 일이 발생했습니다.
Yeah. First of all, apologies if I butchered any of these Norwegian words or place names. If you speak Norwegian, please let me know. But have you ever seen a container ship up close?
Well, I saw it in the picture, but no, not in real life.
They are massive,
I bet.
Massive pieces of equipment.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen anything that big in my life. Think about a skyscraper lying flat on its side and in the water.
Is it like that?
It's like that because you think planes are big, but these container ships are massive. And I've even been on an aircraft carrier, and these are bigger than aircraft carriers.
Wow.
So they are massive. So imagine waking up and seeing this in your front yard.
Draw back the curtains and what's going on?
There's a massive container ship, and that's what happened here in Norway when neighbors had to wake up this homeowner seeing a ship that was headed towards its garden at approximately 30 kilometers per hour, so at a relatively slow rate. There were 16 crew members aboard the ship. Luckily, no injuries or oil spills or any other casualties were reported, but police
it was very close, though, wasn't it, to the house?
It came really close. I mean, it doesn't help that this gentleman's house is right in front of the water as well, but police are investigating the incident, and they actually think there might be some foul play because they've identified one suspect on board, but there's no reason to believe this was intentional. Maybe some negligence, perhaps. But, in Norway, they have these things called fjords, F-J-O-R-D. They're long, narrow inlets between high cliffs, often formed by things like glaciers.
그래요. 사진을 좀 찾아보시게 되면은 금방 이제 감이 오실 겁니다. 집보다 훨씬 큰 이 컨테이너 선이 집에서 글쎄요, 거리상으로 봤을 때는 몇 미터 안 떨어진 것 같아요. 정말 가까운 곳까지 좌초가 돼서 아마 집에서 이제 커튼을 탁 열고 창밖을 보는 이 집 주인들은 깜짝 놀랐을 겁니다. 밖에 바다가 펼쳐져야 되는데 웬 엄청나게 큰 컨테이너 선이 앞 마당까지 이렇게 올라온 모습이었거든요. Some news articles say that the watch officer maybe fell asleep. We don't know, but as you said,
Right.
Yeah, they're investigating.
Yeah, there have been some other sort of high-profile incidents and accidents involving ships. In New York recently with the Brooklyn Bridge, there was that Mexican Navy ship. Unfortunately, people perished in that accident as well.
That's right. All right, to run aground is the expression to look at here.
Yeah, so if something runs aground, we're talking usually about a ship or a boat that becomes stuck on the bottom of the water. It doesn't have to be on land, but it could run aground in shallow water as well, where any area that's no longer deep enough for it to float. So ships can run aground, but I think you can apply it to animals as well, perhaps, but they don't really run aground. They kind of come ashore, I guess you could say. But usually in the case of ships or boats, we say it runs aground, one word.
그래요. 좌초하다의 의미가 있습니다. 그래서 보통은 이렇게 선박에 관해서 쓰는 표현이겠죠. A boat or a ship can run aground. What about the front garden?
Yeah, so I guess if we break this down, a garden located in front of a house. Between your front door and a gate, if you have a gate, perhaps. If you look at a lot of houses in the West, you do have a yard. And in the U.S., you normally call it a front yard or a backyard that you have, right? But I suppose maybe this gentleman was growing things like flowers and plants. Maybe he had a garden, so you can call it a front garden.
그래요. 이게 이제 거의 해안가 쪽에 있는 전원주택인데 앞에도 마당이 있고 뒤에도 마당이 있고 사실 이제 완전히 다 초록색으로 둘러싸인 굉장히 아름다운 곳에 위치한 집이긴 하더라고요. 근데 앞마당에 배가 좌초됐기 때문에 앞마당이라는 뜻의 front garden이 쓰였습니다. 미국에서는 보통 front yard, Y-A-R-D 그리고 이제 back garden이라는 말은 잘 안 하고 그냥 garden이라고 하든가 아니면 미국에서는 backyard라고 하죠. 그래서 그 acronym 있잖아요. NIMBY, not in my backyard. 거기서 B, Y 마지막 두 개가 바로 내 뒤뜰에다가는 뭐 이렇게 하지 말아라. It could be some sort of
it's usually
facility
when we're talking about
nuclear facility or something.
Like zoning rules and regulations when there's a law, or you want to build a power plant next to your neighborhood, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, and just to going back to container ships, I'm reading here that they can reach lengths of 400 meters. So that'll give you a sense of just how big these container ships are.
Exactly. This one, I believe, was 135 meters long, but it still looks massive to my eyes. But it's definitely taller and bigger than the house. So I guess that was a bit of a surprise for the owners.
A rude awakening, to say the least.
Yes. 그리고 충돌하는 것은 영어로 crash into 어디라고 얘기를 하죠. Okay, well, here's the headline again. A massive container ship ran aground last week while entering Trondheim Fjord on its way to Orkanger, Norway, crashing into a resident's front garden. And my apologies also if I butchered those pronunciations. Right, those are the headlines this morning with Shane.